Hi, this is James Shug with Westpac London's end of day report for Tuesday, December the 13th. I'm just back in London actually after a few weeks in Australia. A little bit of a croak in the voice, I apologise for that. Look, Europe again a major focus. We had a better than expected or less weak than expected survey of investor confidence out of Germany. Its first gain, albeit very modest, since February of this year, although the level remains around the lows seen in the recession 3 years ago. Nevertheless, a slight move in the right direction. We had a Spanish bond auction which went off reasonably well today. In fact, Spanish bond yields at around 5.6% at the 10-year part of the curve are now a full percent below the Italian equivalent at 6.6%. We had the news though that from one of the agencies at least that Angela Merkel is going to block any attempt to increase the contribution of the German and indeed other governments to the various bailout funds that are being created, and that injected a bit of a negative tone into markets, although it wasn't confirmed by the other agencies, that story at this stage at least. On the economic data front in other parts of the world, in the UK we had a fall in inflation, went from 5% down to 4.8% in November, confirming that UK inflation probably did peak a couple of months ago and certainly going to fall sharply next year when this year's VAT hike drops out of the calculations. In the US, disappointment on the retail sales front with the smallest rise in retailing since the middle of the year, just a 0.2% gain there. Core retailing, excluding autos and gasoline, also rose 0.2. That actually matched the lowest monthly gain for the year so far. Offsetting that, we had a slight rise in economic optimism in December, and small business confidence also picked up in its latest reading for November, and its jobs component or intention to hire component was the strongest we've seen actually since the recession, since before the recession 3 years ago. The main event though in the US was the Federal Reserve's decision. They left interest rates on hold, no surprise there, made only very minor tweaks to the statement, upgraded the growth story and the labour market story a little bit, emphasised that inflation was falling more strongly than they did last time, expressed a bit of concern about business investment that wasn't there last time. So a bit of a mix and match of slightly upgraded and slightly downgraded statements, but the gist of the statement was certainly unchanged, and the policy commitment to keep rates at close to zero at least until mid-2013 and to employ the Fed's tools if considered necessary to further promote recovery, they were all there as there have been in the last few statements. There was actually some market disappointment about that. Stock markets in the US certainly fell away after the Fed statement. Perhaps they were hoping for a stronger hint that there might be another round of quantitative easing in the offing. So, given all those events today, just run through the markets quickly. In Europe, the London market rose 1.2% today, but the French market was down 0.33%, and the German market down 0.2%. In the US, the Dow is currently unchanged on the session at 12,029. But it was up more than 0.5% earlier today, as I say, falling away since the Fed statement, which was about half an hour ago. It's 7:45 in London in the evening at the moment. The Aussie dollar, it's at 1.002 against the US dollar, down around 1.5 cents from its peak earlier today, and certainly losing some momentum also following that Fed statement. Oh, the Fed statement did include for the first time too some concern expressed about the global growth story. That wasn't mentioned in previous statements, and that may have been a factor that hit the Aussie dollar a little bit too. Not that anyone needs reminding that there are problems with the global growth story. On the commodity markets, we've got oil up 2.1% today. Did have a stronger gain earlier in the session, but it's pulled back a bit since the Fed statement. It's at $99.84 a barrel. Gold prices are down 0.9% today, $1,653 an ounce, and copper prices, they're down today as well, down 1% at 342 cents a pound. All right, that's about it from me. We've got Aussie consumer sentiment numbers coming up later in the Australian session today, and I'll be back tomorrow.